I spent 5 days and nights in a clandestine love affair with my brother-in-law, who had just returned from his first leave from the military. So lost in each other that we didn't even notice the dawn. Here I confess this secret story that I cannot share with anyone else on this channel. Yesterday, as I was shoveling the freshly fallen snow that had piled up, I heard footsteps behind me, and then a strong voice called out, "Loyalty." Private Steve reporting for vacation duty to my beloved sister-in-law. I was startled by the loud voice and turned around to see my brother-in-law, who had enlisted 3 months ago, saluting me in his uniform with his face bronzed from the sun. "Oh my, is that you, brother-in-law? Are you on leave? How have you been, the most beautiful sister-in-law in the world?" I was overjoyed to see him after such a long time and hugged him tightly. My brother-in-law, 12 years younger than me, has adored and followed me like a sister since before I got married. When I married, he was just a little boy in elementary school. And now he had become a proud man after his time in the military. "How is my brother? Are you two still as close as a pair of mandarin ducks?" he asked innocently. But I found myself at a loss for words. The reason was that my husband had been caught cheating, and we were in the midst of a divorce. One day, I found his phone unlocked and saw messages that were too explicit with another woman. When I confronted my sleeping husband, he said, "Nothing," and has been living in a studio apartment for a long time since. However, I couldn't bring myself to tell the truth to my brother-in-law, who had just returned home after a long absence. Yes. Well, that's true. But these days, my husband is busy with the end of a company project, so he doesn't come home much." "Oh, then how do you cope with loneliness?" "My beautiful sister-in-law, is my brother really that busy? You must have had a hard time coming here in the cold," I said, taking his hand and leading him inside. I gave him some clothes to change into. My brother-in-law stood in front of the bathroom, stripping off his military uniform. Wow, did our brother-in-law always have such muscles? Even the skinniest guys bulk up in the military. "Pretty cool, right?" he boasted, flexing his biceps. He had been so skinny before he left for the military, but a few months later, he returned looking robust and strong. My gaze followed his body, which had changed so much that I hardly recognized him. "Sister-in-law, I'm too embarrassed. Please stop staring. If you look so openly, I don't know where to put my eyes," he said. "Are we strangers, brother-in-law? Hurry up and go shower," I told him as he grabbed his clothes and went into the bathroom. Soon, I heard the sound of the shower running. Standing there, I was struck by a curious impulse. Even when my brother-in-law turned 20, he still looked like a child, but now he seemed like a healthy man. My brother-in-law found it odd that his brother wasn't answering calls, especially since he should have been aware of the leave dates. Despite not being much of a drinker ordinarily, I felt compelled to drink that evening. I opened a bottle and grilled some meat for my brother-in-law. The food at the base can't compare to the delicious, home-cooked meal from my beautiful sister-in-law. The liquor goes down smoothly too. "You should have a drink with me," he suggested. "All right, but just so you know, I'm planning to drink quite a bit tonight." "Don't judge me for anything," I replied. "Of course, sister-in-law, do as you please," he said, pouring me a drink. Though I'm not one to handle alcohol well, I took a bold shot in consideration of his kindness. But the alcohol was quite bitter. "How do you stay so well managed, sister-in-law? You truly are beautiful," he complimented. "Now, don't make me blush. There are plenty of fresh-faced women in their 20s out there. Don't just say nice things for the sake of it," I retorted. "No, I'm serious. I'll marry someone who resembles my sister-in-law's style." "You are my ideal type," he confessed. I felt pitiful guarding the home alone without my husband, and my brother-in-law, joyous from his first leave, seemed oblivious to my troubles. I don't usually drink. The most I've ever had was 2 glasses. But while talking with him, I ended up having 3. After dinner and some oranges, we watched a favorite variety show, But then my brother-in-law excused himself to sleep. Sister-in-law, I'm going to bed now. The bus ride here was exhausting, but I'm really happy to be on leave. All right, sleep well. I won't wake you up tomorrow, so rest as much as you need, I responded. As I watched him retire for the night, a strange emotion stirred within me. I found myself wishing to be held in the arms of such a youthful and healthy man. Perhaps it was the 3 glasses of alcohol, a first for me, but I lay in bed unable to sleep. Just a few steps away, I felt the urge to spend time with my brother-in-law, who had looked so strong after shedding his military uniform. I'm not usually forthcoming about my intimate relations, but tonight sleep seemed elusive. Why am I acting this way? It seems to be my fertile period. That's probably why I can't just sleep, I thought to myself. So I came up with an idea to wake my brother-in-law. Quickly changing into going-out clothes, I knocked on his room. He asked what was wrong, and I told him. I felt sick from the alcohol and needed to get some hangover cure from the convenience store, but was too scared to go alone. The kind-hearted brother-in-law immediately offered to go for me, but feeling guilty for waking him, I suggested we go together. It was slippery from the ice outside, so I deliberately linked arms with him for stability. He felt so reliable when he checked my forehead and asked if I was okay. After purchasing hangover cures and snacks for tomorrow, at the convenience store we returned home. He poured me the hangover cure, and I felt like I was being treated like royalty. The cure eased my stomach, and I thanked him for accompanying me to the store. He looked at me and said, "Are you feeling better now, my beautiful sister-in-law? You don't have to worry about taking care of me tomorrow. Just get some rest." Then he went to his room. I tried to sleep, but I felt if I just slept tonight, I would regret it for a long time. Feeling guilty for harboring inappropriate feelings toward my brother-in-law, who was even 6 years younger than my youngest brother, I went to the kitchen, parched from my conflicting thoughts, while drinking water and heading to the restroom. My brother-in-law came out of his room. Seeing my face again, he asked, "Sister-in-law, you look so down. Is something wrong?" I invited him into my bedroom, wanting to lie down and talk. Sitting on the vanity chair, he listened as I revealed my heart at how my husband had been unfaithful, never apologized, and just left to live on his own terms. My brother-in-law was outraged, ready to confront my husband as he grabbed his phone, but I told him it was no use, my husband wouldn't answer. Yet he called and my husband picked up nonchalantly. "Bro, I'm on leave." "Where are you?" "You're back." "I'm too busy to come home." "Just relax and then return to duty." My brother-in-law was furious at my husband's indifference, even towards him. We never expected such a change in my husband, who used to adore and raise my brother-in-law like his own child. We were both delighted by the bond they shared, playing with our child. And we had even planned to generously support my brother-in-law when he married, trying to suppress the desires welling up inside me after exposing such vulnerability. It seemed my brother-in-law had read my mind. Unable to hold back any longer, he embraced me, and we shared a moment of intense passion. His embrace was warm, but I was filled with a sense of alarm afterward. "Should we have done this? What now?" I questioned. He admitted, "The moment I stepped into the yard, I saw you and felt something else. Hiding it was hard. I couldn't sleep after dinner. And when you said you needed a hangover cure, I was relieved. Now that we understand each other's feelings, let's just think about us." "If that's what you want, I'm ready to be in your arms whenever," I replied. We decided to date during the remainder of his leave. We shared intimate moments with just a glance, visited restaurants, and went for drives. When I asked if he minded being with me instead of his friends, he confessed, "You're the most important person to me. I love you." I never imagined the brother-in-law I once saw as a child could comfort my heart. My husband called to invite him for a meal, but my brother-in-law coldly refused. He promised to spend his next leave with me too. Months later, my husband and I were legally strangers. He gave me the house, and my brother-in-law spent every leave with me. After his discharge, he moved out but stayed in touch. My ex-husband provided child support, and I had my job, so raising my child was manageable. I don't need another man because I have my brother-in-law. Someday this may end, but for now, I only want to live in the moment.